It's August 6th and everything is coming in like crazy. We got a few cherry tomatoes this week, but the big tomatoes haven't started turning colors yet, but that's going to happen soon. Everything is getting really big and exploding, so we wanted to show you what everything looks like. So first thing is we harvested all our garlic. So we have these beds were freed up. So we decided to do the square foot method with this bed as kind of an experiment. And then we're doing normal or row planting in this bed. That way we can kind of have like a direct comparison of like how do radishes do when they're in rows versus how they do when you have them in square feet. So when you do radishes in the square foot method, you do 16 to a square. And then when you do it in rows, it's like 10 in like a 4-foot row about. So that's these. We haven't thinned these all the way yet, but it's cool because these are starting to come in, and then we're gonna grow a squash over our trellis. We were doing nasturtiums, but it was really difficult to weave them in and out. It wasn't difficult, but it was just a lot of work. We want something that's just gonna climb, and we don't have to do too much effort into it. We'll still have to kind of weave it in there, but it'll have tendrils that'll grab on, so hoping that'll work out better. So that's what we got up here. Let's go see what's going on in the big garden. So the tomatoes are humongous. I had to like top them off because once they start getting, so we'll put like one more string probably on this one, but on all of our other ones we're pretty much to the top of this T-post for our last string. So once you get it up there, you want to cut these off, and the spot that you usually cut it off at is like right above the last flower that you want. So like if I was going to cut this guy off here, I would just cut him right here, and then there'd be one more tomato sprout from there. But the reason that you do that is because you don't want them to get super tall and then they'll fold over and then they could snap. So you just kind of want them to stop growing. And then the other cool thing about that is that they'll put the energy into the tomatoes below them instead of putting energy into getting taller. So you can see we got a lot of tomatoes down here. I think I might have pruned that guy in the end a little bit too much and stunted his growth. That's why he's smaller than the rest, but oh well, we're still getting tomatoes from it. And then, so we haven't gotten any big tomatoes changing colors yet, but there's some you can see that are starting to go. These are San Marzanos, so they'll be red, but they're starting to change. And you can definitely tell, I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure that San Marzanos are determinate because they're way shorter than the rest of our tomatoes. And usually when tomatoes are determinate, they'll like bush out instead of growing up. So we're pretty sure those are that. The onions aren't looking great. We had a few problems. You'll probably notice that it looks really dry out here, and that's because it is really dry out here. We haven't been getting much rain. When we do get rain, it's like 1/8 of an inch, so definitely not enough. You usually want like an inch a week for your vegetables. So we've been trying to water a lot, but it's also just so hot out here. So like every day the sun's out, it's 90 degrees and everything dries up again. So it's kind of hard to keep up. But so dryness hasn't been great for our tomatoes and then our onions. And also we have, I shouldn't say have a ground squirrel that is coming in here, and he's putting in holes and he's digging up onions. So like this was supposed to be something that grew, but it didn't because the ground squirrel. And also these onions should be way bigger than they are. Like, so they just haven't been getting enough water and haven't been growing that well. But it's okay. You win some, you lose some. The carrots are kind of another loss. And that's something else. It's just because of the weather. It's just too dry, hard to keep them with enough moisture. And then the other thing that's been happening is when it does rain, it's like 3 inches at once. So you don't get a bunch of rain, and then it's 3 inches. So then what happens is the plants soak up a bunch of water, and then they'll crack because they haven't been used to getting that much water. So we actually pulled a carrot today, and it had a big crack in it. So, I mean, you probably could have ate it, but it just didn't look very good. The peppers, though, they are doing wonderfully. So all of our peppers are doing really good. Our sweet peppers aren't producing as much, but our hot peppers, we have a ton of peppers on here. So like, do you remember what a good one is?
The jalapenos had a lot. Actually, I'll do the black Hungarian first.
So these ones are super cool. They're called black Hungarians, and they have really good flavor. They have heat, but like they're not too hot. They just have a really nice flavor, and they start out black and then they turn red, which we've never, before the black Hungarians, we never really had a pepper like that. So it was kind of cool to see that. Our jalapenos, they're doing really good. So you can get in there, see all those. So those are going wild, so we're happy about that. Our beets have been doing really well too. We've actually harvested, I want to say, about 20 pounds on this patch already. And that's only like 25% of this patch. So we're going to get a lot of beets out here. So that's one thing that has been doing really well. You can see some good patches right there. And the nice thing about them too is that they've been producing at different times. So like, we've been getting them at different times, even though we planted them all at the same time. So what else is doing well? Our celery has been doing pretty good, even though I think that might be like a cool weather crop. So kind of interesting that's been doing well. I mean, these ones look like they're probably not doing so well, but this guy's getting some celery on it. This is our first year growing celery, so wasn't really sure what to expect, but it seems like it's doing pretty well. Our cabbage, not so much. Kind of another loss that we'll say is from the heat. So yeah, and also there's just been a lot of bugs eating these. And we don't really like to use many pesticides, so we're just kind of rolling with it. The leeks are doing really well though. So at least since our onions kind of failed, we have our leeks, so we kind of use those in place of that. And actually our cauliflower and broccoli is doing pretty good. We'll probably start to see cauliflower head on that one soon. And that's also surprising because that's kind of like a cool weather crop too. Parsley bush is really big. We've been using a lot of that, harvesting it, and it keeps coming back, so that's awesome. And our eggplants definitely have been getting eaten by a bug, but I was afraid they weren't going to grow at first because they had so much bug damage, but they're snapping back, so I think we'll actually get some eggplant harvest this year too. Our radishes, these are watermelon radishes. They are way bigger than a traditional radish. I think the reason they call them a watermelon radish is because the inside is red and then it kind of has like a green circle around it, but I think the other reason is because they're just humongous. So we're gonna pull some of those out. We've been fermenting them, and so we're excited to try that because we've never fermented radishes before, so excited to try those out. And then these are our sweet peppers, and it's so weird because you can tell that they're getting like really tall, but there's not many peppers below. So I don't know if that was just because of the weather or just not a unlucky pepper, but like now we're getting flowers up here. So hopefully we'll get some more peppers off of these. But it's not every single one. Like we have some other pepper, some of the sweet peppers are doing really good. Like here's our banana peppers. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, but there's quite a few in there. And then this guy's pretty loaded up too. So it's not all a loss over here. But yeah, and our cucumbers have been doing pretty okay. I guess that'd be the best way to say it. We have some of them that are just doing fine, but there's other ones that have just been having, been having a lot of pest problems this year with specifically cucumber beetles and squash beetles or squash bugs. And we've been trying to just cut back on them, but we've lost some of our cucumbers. We lost a squash plant, and I think that the ones that are still doing well are just some more resistant varieties. Oh look, there's a cucumber beetle just in time for the video. So he's our nemesis. We've literally just been coming out here and squashing them. We tried some DE, diatomaceous earth, but it wasn't really working, so we just resorted to squashing them and hoping for the best. So yeah, all in all, everything, I'd say most things are doing well. Obviously every year you have things that don't do well and things that do really well, and we've been getting a lot of food out of our garden, so, and things are still looking really green and really healthy despite all of the weather issues. So I'd say pretty good year, and pretty nervous for the tomatoes to start coming in because that's going to be a lot of work, but we're also really excited at the same time. So